Hey everyone, it's Lori here. I wanted to do a little short tutorial since a lot of you have asked me for the smoothing action. I wanted to give you a little sample of how that works once you've got it installed on your machine. If you have Photoshop Elements, the action that you got is only for smoothing. If you have Creative Cloud or Photoshop, the full version, the action you received has multiple actions on it, but I'm just going to go over the smoothing one today just because it's a little, not really complicated, but there's a couple of tricks that you need to know so that you don't mess up your elements. So I'm going to start with this button that I've got right here. And it's not super jagged, but it is a little bit blurry around the edges. I'm mainly just using this for demonstration purposes. So I've got my action installed. I've got it open here. I've got the smooth edges portion of it opened, and you can see that these are tied to your function keys on your computer. So it makes it really nice. You don't have to run the action with the play button. You can just hit F2 on your keyboard and it should run the action for you, so it makes it a little faster. So whatever the function key is here on the action, you can run it with that function key, which makes it a little bit quicker when you're just running your kit through QC. But what I wanted to show you, when you do this smooth edges action, if I hit my play button, and I'm going to actually hit it a couple of times so that you can kind of see a little bit more dramatically what it's doing. So you can see on here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so that you can see this is more than 100%. So because the button was all the way around touching the edges of my layer bounds, you see that little bump right there? It doesn't smooth it correctly when it's that way. So if you go, I'm gonna just go back and undo this, what I did. I don't have enough history set. Okay, so what you want to do is either enlarge your canvas a little bit or shrink the size of your element slightly so that it's not touching the edges, so that you don't get that little bump, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna go to my canvas size and just increase it slightly so that my button's not touching the edges. So now when I run my action, it will smooth it, and you can see how that's much more clear around the edges than it was before. I'm gonna see, I don't know if it will let me open two of them or not. No, it's not gonna let me do that. Anyway, so you can see that it's more clear around the edge and it doesn't get that little bump. So the main point that I wanted to show you is to make sure that you've got it away, whatever you're smoothing, have it away from the edges of your layer bounds on your layer so that it will smooth it correctly. Another thing that you'll want to do, and I can't remember if this is toggled on or off when you install the action, but you want to make sure that that is off right there so that it doesn't stop you at every single step. So normally you want that off. Let me show you this other example that I've got though. For this one, we're going to want to turn it on, and I'll show you why. So if I run the action the way that it is, because this string is really skinny, and anything that you've got that's really thin, so wires and strings, threads, doodles, anything that is thin that you're trying to smooth will not work very well with this action the way that it's currently set up. This doesn't need smoothed. I'm just using this as an example. So what I'm going to do, let me show you how it works just regularly. If I play that action, see how it takes my string away and it disappears. You lose some of that because of how it's set up. So what I do is turn that toggle back on, toggle that back on so that it stops at every step. And then I'm gonna run my action again. And when it gets to this first step, the first thing that it's doing, I'm gonna change the radius to a 1 instead of the 2.5. And then continue on through the action. And so then it smoothed it, but it didn't take away the whole thing because it wasn't smoothing as much, if that makes sense. So hopefully that will give you a few tips on how to just run that smoothing part of the action that I sent to you guys so that you don't get frustrated and think that it doesn't work. If you don't have it, make sure that you message me on Facebook if you want it, and I will get that sent to you. I think I'm caught up on everybody that's messaged me so far. Remember to not share it with other designers. I have permission to share it with you guys, but you do not have permission to share it with anyone else. So make sure that whoever wants it comes to me. I can share it with my fellow designers. So anyway, refer people to me if they want it. If you've got questions on how to run it or you get confused, just let me know and I will see what I can do to answer your questions. Hopefully this helps you guys be able to smooth jagged edges. It also works really good on blurry edges, or if you've got shadows around the outside of things that you want to get rid of, it will work for that as well. So remember to move it away from the edges of your layer bounds, toggle off and on. If you've got something that's thin and you need to stop and change the amount of pixels that it's smoothing off. Talk to you guys later.